Deadbolt, Don Peoples. Let's talk about it. So we got to get into this Gilly and Wallo $1 million worth of game interview with Lil Durk. Now, this to me was probably one of their most impactful videos, podcasts and shit, because I think, $1 million worth of game, they doing something different than other podcasters ain't doing. They went into the trenches and they pulled up on Dirk and they conducted this interview. Now, obviously, the talk of the interview is Wallo giving a heartfelt message to Dirk about a situation that he had in his past dealing with his brother and his brother's killer, and that he had to forgive the killer to actually be able to ascend where he's at now. And he got real emotional about it. And you could tell, one thing I respect about Wallo is he, really lived it. What we call as being a thug and making these decisions, dumb decisions and all that type of stuff. He actually lived all that. Did 20 years of his life, and now he's home living his best life. So I salute him. That's one of my favorite dudes on the podcast scene. But when I look at Dirk and this whole situation, man, like him giving that heartfelt message to Dirk, even though, we want this to stop the violence. We want this to help with the violence in Chicago. Look how Dirk pulled up to the interview. First off, you got $1 million worth of cash money. Now, if you could look at this picture of Dirk, and I'm glad, shout out to the dude who dropped this picture. Homie, look at his eyes, man. Like, you don't even sit right with that type of bread in the trenches. You can't be feeling right. When you the only one pulling out all that bread, it ain't nobody around you got that type of money. Nowhere near. You got all your foot soldiers around, people who down with your camp, but you got $1 million cash. Like, it can really be a situation, especially dealing in Chicago. So, I commend Gilly and Wallo for pulling up on the scene. Now, I don't know who was off camera, if they had armed security or whatever. I definitely would have had armed security outside in the whole nine, my own security. Because one thing about Chicago, it can go down in any second. So, but seeing Dirk, the look on his face he had, when he had this bread and, they're interviewing him and stuff like that. And I feel like, Wallo really took the time and the opportunity to seize to really put out that message. But when you look at Dirk and his current situation, what he's involved in, especially this NBA YoungBoy situation, where bodies have dropped, King Von obviously being a casualty of this situation and, this beef ongoing. Now, mind you, lately it's been on wax, right? Because NBA YoungBoy is currently, fighting a Fed case and, he can't get too active nowadays. So, everything's remaining on wax, but it's still promoting this violence in hip hop. And obviously beef has been around for a minute and beef is necessary in some cases. But with these young boys, they're actually living out the lyrics. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, it wasn't too many people living out the lyrics. Now these dudes is living it out. So, and they're influencing other people to live it out. So, to get this message of the stop the violence, yes, we definitely have to have that message. But I really think we too late in the game for that. Like I said, dudes is now on this type of time to where you can remove the music and you still gonna have people searching for it. So it'll just go underground. You never can put out the demon fire. You know what I'm saying? And these dudes, Dirk and YB, they're spearheading it. But what's so crazy, man? Another thing with having all this bread in the hood and stuff, right? Like that type of money, man, backed by the bank, because Dirk got good credit now. Also, he got other homies he cool with. He could open centers and daycares and gyms and all type of stuff to help his community. You know what I'm saying? He could really buy back the block with that type of money. And all you doing is coming to the show and into the hood, flaunting it out. Now, you might have gave some of your dudes some pocket cash, like 10,000. You might have spared 100,000 of that out, which is cool. I doubt you left out the trenches without giving out none of that bread, right? But, at the same time, it's so much more that money can do. And instead of you talking about, yeah, this money right here, I'm putting all this money back into Chicago. I'm putting all this money back into my block, not so they can buy guns and sell dope, but so these dudes can better their situation and their family situation. And I think even though, Wallo wanted to get his message out and he got his message out to Durk, I think he came home to a wicked industry. Something that Gilly has already been a part of. Y'all forget, like Gilly been in the industry for a long time, so he's already went through his rituals and the whole nine. So, you know, Wallo's coming back home to it, and he was put in position obviously by Gills. So it's a lot of crazy stuff that he's probably seeing head on because now that he's going through the motions with this thing, it's probably a lot more he wanted to say, but he just wanted to get that off his chest, and I commend him for being so genuine because you could tell it came from a real place. But let's keep it a bean. These dudes can't stop the violence. These dudes can't stop the promotion of it because this is the agenda and this is the plan. So Durk, YB, and everybody else that's on that type of time, they're going to keep promoting that type of time because that's what got them that bag. And let's not forget, man, like the boy Durk, he fighting his own case, an attempted murder case, and he pulled pistols out on homies down here in Atlanta with this whole robbery situation. Like, even though King Von died, it's still a situation like, did this all of a sudden get swept under the rug? Like, I'm confused about this whole thing because it's like, no, ain't nobody talking about it. He ain't got no court dates. I know he one of the hottest dudes in the game, but that ain't got nothing to do with your court thing, and it's been almost 3 years since this situation had popped off. And so you got to understand, it's like he's really on borrowed time for real. And, with him resurrecting himself from the dead of hip hop, wasn't getting no shine, wasn't getting no bucks. Now he's making over 100 bands a show. Like, he gonna do whatever it takes to keep that position. So this is how dudes like Durk are really easily controlled. You know what I'm saying? They're controlled because they really came from nothing. Like, they know what it feel like to be on the bottom and not, have people talking about him or glorifying him or nothing. Like, through the whole, beginning of the drill era, he wasn't one of the most poppinest dudes, obviously. You had Keith, you had Fredo, you had Reese. You had a lot of dudes that was sitting ahead of Durk, and now Durk sits at the head of the table when it comes to Chirac drill. And, even though King Von got sacrificed for this situation, obviously King Von would have been the top goon, but, obviously he met his demise, with him being like a dude who really had bodies in the game and stuff like that, he was going to garner the respect. So obviously, like a master chess player, which Durk is, he had to wipe King Von off the board. So everything that these dudes, is going through with this whole beef, a lot of this stuff, man, is just for the numbers, man, and for the money, because they know that's what's going to sell. That's what's going to keep the clout coming in. You know what I'm saying? So we got to keep this thing going. We got to keep this train pushing. Like, that's what the game is all about. So even though Wallo was giving a heartfelt message and was trying to give some $1 million worth of game, I personally feel like it fell on deaf ears because these dudes is put in place to do what they doing. He ain't going to stop that. Nobody ain't going to listen to Durk if he came with a "we are the world," or we're headed for self-destruction like rappers were doing back in the day, collabing on positive records. Like, I can't see that being the case, especially with a drill rapper like Durk. A Lil Baby can get in where he fit in when he did that little conscious record, with the other rappers and stuff and other people in the game. But, like, Durk can't do that. So Durk got to keep pushing this chaos. You know what I'm saying? And that's what he's been doing. He's been doing very well at it. And this new album that's coming out, it's not going to have "Let's Come Together, Let's Unify Chicago." It's going to have more division, more op packs getting smoked, niggas getting rolled up, the whole nine, the whole wop. What got him to the stage where he at now. So he ain't going to stop his bag. And yeah, it was a heartfelt message by Wallo. And I know he probably respected. But Durk know what he signed up for. And he know it ain't no end to it. He just trying to run up the bag for his kids, make sure that they straight forever. But he know his time is short. He got a song on his album called Federal Dreams. So he know it's coming. I wouldn't be surprised if we hear about Durk on a different type of time very soon when it comes to, because what he's doing, like he said, he the voice of the street. But I hope he really did something with that bread. When he came, and did that interview, I hope that, he put some of that in the hood, man, in good places, man, so he can grow his blocks, try to bring together Chicago. I think it's time, and I think it would be accepted in the game if Chicago came together like Atlanta, for the most part, is together. I think it's time for that. And I think that he can capitalize off the turnaround of Chicago if this is what he wanted to do. But they got so much hanging over this boy head to where he got to keep pumping what he pumping, because if once he changes up, then they just going to throw him in the can. They're going to, put that case going to pop back up. He going to go to court and they going to off with his head. So, I mean, these are the parts of the game that ain't nobody talking about. But I want to know what y'all think about this, man. Do y'all feel that Wallo's message to Durk will get through to Durk, and Durk will switch up the game and try to bring positive energy and peace to hip hop and Chicago? Also, build back up Chicago just with the bread. All these rappers, man, y'all got all this bucks, y'all showing off all this money. Y'all need to start building back up the hood. Or do you feel like, man, Durk gonna continue doing his wops, continue running up his bag, and be an agent of chaos in hip hop, and continue to promote the violence that's got him where he's at? But I want y'all to get in the comment box, man, and let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification tab so y'all can tap in every time I drop a video. It's your boy Don Peoples. Deadbolt, gone.